in this community.
Courts in Meigs, Jackson, and Athens County are getting thousands of dollars to spend on much-needed upgrades. Plus, history is being made. The Senate hears opening arguments in the impeachment trial of President Trump. And in sports, Ohio quarterback Nathan Rourke is described with words like leader, captain, and teammate. How OU is remembering his career with the Bobcats. Newswatch starts right now. Good evening and welcome to Newswatch, your source for all news out of southeastern Ohio. I'm Spencer Charlton. Thank you for joining us. Filing court documents should soon become faster and easier in the Athens County Courthouse. Several courts in the area are getting thousands of dollars to help operations run even smoother. The Meigs County Court and County Court of Common Pleas, the Athens County Court of Common Pleas, and the Jackson County Court of Common Pleas all received money to upgrade the existing case management system. Ohio Supreme Court Justice Maureen O'Connor visited the Meigs and Jackson courts this morning to present the checks. Athens Court is using all the money to install kiosks where people can file court documents electronically. Judge George McCarthy says many tech upgrades like this wouldn't be possible without help from the Ohio Supreme Court. He also says filing out court documents can be a daunting task. The kiosk would make the process easier and more understandable.
Sometimes it's lacking because they're trying to do it on their own and they're not experienced with it, and they're obviously not attorneys. So this question and answer format should help them better prepare these documents that they need to be in the court system.
Total 54 local courts in Ohio received more than $3 million. Ohioans could soon see better broadband connectivity in rural areas. The Federal Communications Commission is proposing investing $20 billion in rural broadband as part of the Rural Digital Opportunity Fund. Ohio Congressman Bill Johnson and FCC Chairman Ajit Pai visited Athens today to tour a fixed wireless broadband facility. Chairman Pai says the money could connect millions of people.
Have that digital opportunity, you're pretty much going to be left behind, and we don't want that to happen for anybody in this country.
Now let's take our first look at your local weather with Michaela.
Thanks, Spencer. Welcome to the Newswatch Weather Center. I'm forecaster Michaela Gress. Overall today in Athens, we did see a little bit of a warm-up compared to what we saw the past couple of days with those 30-degree weather temperatures. But as of right now, we are looking at 32 degrees, partly cloudy skies. As I said, earlier in the day today, we did see the temperatures almost reach about 50 degrees today, which was a warm-up compared to the past couple of days. But right now, we are seeing those cooler temperatures with those winds coming out of the east-southeast at 1 mile an hour. As we look across the region, we are seeing those temperatures in the lower to even upper 30s. We're seeing Ironton at 37 degrees. Over in Marietta, we are seeing 34 degrees. And up in Newark, we are seeing 32. Spencer, like I said, this past weekend, it was very, very cold. Today, we saw a little bit of a warm up, but sadly, the next couple of days, it's going to be pretty gloomy.
Well, hopefully in the coming weeks, these locals can get some respite from this bitter cold weather we're having. Thanks, Michaela. 2 Scioto County men are facing theft and breaking and entering charges after being accused of stealing car parts. Timothy A. Long and Christopher Miller appeared in court today. The Scioto County Sheriff's Office received a call yesterday that catalytic converters had been cut off of several vehicles at Mike's Auto Sales. Deputies found Long and Miller hiding in the area when they arrived. Captain John W. Murphy says an investigation found that another man dropped the 2 suspects off, but they have not found him yet. And in another court appearance, a former Chillicothe High School principal sentenced in a sexual battery case will appear in court next month. Jeff Fisher filed for judicial release, which means he could be released from prison earlier than his original date. Fisher was sentenced on 2 years in prison, and an investigation identified 2 students who said they had sex with him while he was working at the school. The motion will be heard February 20th. An Oak Hill family has been notified that their son, who was reported missing on his birthday last year, has been found. Jackson County Sheriff Ted Frazier says the remains of Benjamin Saylor were found on Saturday, January 11th by 2 kids. The Jackson County Sheriff's Office reports that the Jackson County coroner notified the sheriff of the confirmation Monday. The county coroner was able to identify Saylor using dental records. How Saylor died is still under investigation. The Kentucky man who was pardoned by Governor Matt Bevin is facing new charges. Dayton Jones was indicted last week for drug-related crimes he allegedly committed in prison. He was originally convicted in 2016 for brutally sexually assaulting a teenage boy. Documents from the new indictment say that a drug investigation at the prison started in September, which was before and during when Bevin issued pardons. The former prosecutor in the case, John Heck, says he wasn't originally told about Jones's potential release.
If he had just picked up the phone, we would have told him, don't pardon this guy. He's hardly a model prisoner.
Bevin is under investigation by the FBI for the pardons. An Ohio hospital concluded 25 nurses gave excessive painkillers to dozens of patients who eventually died. The Mount Carmel Health System nurses involved are accused of administering excessive painkillers and not questioning the dosages ordered by the doctor. They are not being criminally prosecuted, but are facing possible disciplinary hearings from the Ohio Board of Nursing. The doctor involved, William Hussel, has pleaded not guilty to murder charges. Patients in Kentucky will soon have less options for health care. Bon Secours Health System announced yesterday that it will end acute and outpatient care in the Ashland and tri-state communities by September. This will also lead to the closure of Our Lady of Belleton Hospital and other system-owned care sites. West Virginia's public school superintendent is urging the State Board of Education to not cut the number of social studies courses required for high school graduation. Steve Payne says there has been an overwhelming public response. Decreasing the number of social studies classes is part of the board's plan to give counties more flexibility to change their requirements. Friday is the last day for public comment on the proposal. Kentucky will not have a commercial hemp program for at least another year. The state's Department of Agriculture says it will continue operating its hemp program as a research pilot program. This comes after Congress gave the state the option to continue pilot programs before submitting commercial plans. And it's the second day of the Senate impeachment trial of President Trump. What President Trump himself has to say about the arguments against him and the possibility of top aide testimony. Plus, World Health Organizations are trying to stop the spread of a deadly virus. What they are doing to try to prevent an outbreak. Those stories next on Newswatch.
Well, I'm just a blues singer.
American Masters presents B.B. King, born a sharecropper's son, Riley B. King. He's the king of the blues.
B.B. King's not just great, he's like great.
Just like, you know, unbelievable.
Join us for his legendary sound and powerful story. B.B. King, The Life of Riley, on American Masters.
The tears were running down my face.
On expedition.
I'm in Greenland with an expert team of Arctic explorers, attempting to kayak up the largest fjord in the world.
Simply stunning. I don't think there's anywhere else on Earth where you feel quite so small, quite so vulnerable. Real danger of getting trapped here.
That's closed up already.
Oh my God, that is absolutely awe-inspiring. This is what adventures are made of.
Experience the natural world of the North Atlantic through the eyes of the Vikings. Without map or compass, Vikings navigated the seas. Nature was their partner and guide. This is an epic tale where spectacular wildlife meets the wild lives of Vikings.
A billion miles from the sun.
Every time we think we have Saturn pegged, another piece of evidence tells us no, everything we thought was wrong.
The most mysterious and alluring of the planets. But the discoveries came at a cost.
I was supposed to call end of mission. I couldn't get the words out.
It's still hard.
The planets, Saturn, on Nova.
Opening arguments in the Senate trial of President Donald Trump have begun. It was a long day of back and forth. CNN's Camila Bernal has exactly what is being said on Capitol Hill.
Senate will convene.
Senators are back at the Capitol for day 2 in President Donald Trump's Senate impeachment trial, with the House managers starting the clock on the 24 hours they have to present opening arguments in their case against President Trump.
President Trump solicited foreign interference in our democratic elections, abusing the power of his office to seek help from abroad to improve his re-election prospects at home.
Today's opening arguments come after what was a long and at times contentious first day of the trial.
Mr. Nadler, you owe an apology to the President of the United States and his family.
The President's counsel has no standing to talk about lying.
It took the Senate until nearly 2 in the morning Wednesday to finish its first day and come up with the rules and procedures the trial will follow. But Senate Democrats continue to criticize the rules.
Leader McConnell and Senate Republicans don't want a fair trial that considers all the evidence.
Meanwhile, Senate Republicans say the House's case is weak.
Every day we're here doing this is a day we're taken away from doing things that really matter.
It felt like we saw last night. It was an incomplete case. They have not done their complete homework.
On Capitol Hill, I'm Camila Bernal reporting.
Trump said today that he wants top aides to testify, but then suggested that national security concerns will keep that from happening. Opening statements are expected to continue tomorrow. The United Nations World Health Organization is holding an emergency meeting today regarding the Wuhan coronavirus. Officials there will determine whether a public health emergency is needed. More than 400 people are infected with the illness, and it's linked to at least 9 deaths. John Lawrence reports.
Concern at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention as the Wuhan coronavirus spreads to the U.S.
We have to be prepared for the worst. I mean, I don't think there's cause for panic on anyone's part, but we certainly need to be following it and watching this very carefully.
This coronavirus, first identified in Wuhan, China, is a cousin of the SARS virus, causing pneumonia-like symptoms. It's been reported in at least 5 countries, including the U.S., when an unnamed male returned to Washington state after a trip to China.
He was hospitalized, and we're very happy to say that he is in satisfactory condition.
Health officials worry air travel may help advance the disease. The CDC is sending dozens of staffers to some U.S. airports to inspect people who are coming from Wuhan.
This is a focused, proactive response to make sure that these particular travelers are getting appropriate screening before they're able to move on to whatever their ultimate destination is.
Health officials say viruses don't respond to antibiotics, and this one can be spread from person to person.
This is flu season, so we wash our hands, we cover our mouths when we sneeze, and when we are ill, we stay home from work so we don't expose other people to infection.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
The CDC crews will be checking passengers at airports in San Francisco, Los Angeles, New York, and Atlanta. Many travelers thought that screening was a good idea.
Yeah, and they should. Like, instead of especially leaving from wherever it's happening in China, screen it in China before I leave.
We want to be aware of what's going on. As a traveler, you want to decide where you're going. That might change your mind.
Concern, it is also having a financial effect. Shares of American, Delta, and United Airlines all fell yesterday as investors worry that an outbreak could hurt global air travel. People in Florida are being warned about falling iguanas. What is causing these scaly guys to just fall out of the trees? That story is still ahead.
And coming up in my full forecast, we'll talk about the slight warm-up we can see tomorrow, the weekend washout, and then we'll take a look at your weather for this week ahead. But now let's look at first look at local stocks of interest.
Billion miles from the sun.
Every time we think we have Saturn pegged, another piece of evidence tells us no, everything we thought was wrong.
The most mysterious and alluring of the planets. But the discoveries came at a cost.
I was supposed to call end of mission. I couldn't get the words out.
It's still hard.
The planets, Saturn, on Nova.
On
expedition.
I'm in Greenland with an expert team of Arctic explorers attempting to kayak up the largest fjord in the world.
Simply stunning. I don't think there's anywhere else on Earth where you feel quite so small, quite so vulnerable. Real danger of getting trapped here.
That's closed up already. Oh my God, that is absolutely awe-inspiring. This is what adventures are made of.
Houston, where West Africa meets America.
Nigerians love spicy food.
Yeah. Tell me about the suya Hennessy chicken, because those are like some of the best things in life. This dish, I really feel African.
That's what we're shooting for.
Now it's cool to be African. That's the flyest chef jacket I've ever seen. Ever.
This is us. We have arrived. We have arrived.
No passport required.
Well, I'm just a blues singer.
American Masters presents B.B. King, born a sharecropper's son, Riley B. King. He's the king of the blues.
B.B. King's not just great, he's like great.
Just like, you know, unbelievable.
Join us for his legendary sound and powerful story. B.B. King, The Life of Riley, on American Masters.
Welcome to the Newswatch Weather Center. I'm forecaster Michaela Gress. Now currently in Athens, we're seeing 32 degrees, partly cloudy conditions, and it is a little cooler than what we saw earlier today. As we take a look at across the region, we're seeing those lower to upper 30s for most of the viewing area. We're seeing 37 degrees down in Ironton, 32 up in Newark, and over in Marietta, we're seeing 34 degrees with partly cloudy conditions. As we take a look at our pre-sibcast, we're seeing this high pressure system over the Carolinas, which is helping to hold back the rain for our area, but we do see a lot of cloud cover as you look over in the Indiana area. And as we take a look at tomorrow, we see those clouds will begin to make their way over as we have a cold front that will begin to make its way through the area for the next couple of days, causing some precipitation over the weekend, which I'll talk about here in just a few moments. But tonight, we're looking at 25 degrees, partly cloudy. It will be a colder night out tonight with those winds light and variable. As we take a look at tonight across the region, we're seeing those mid to lower and upper 20s for most of the viewing area, 26 in Marietta. Up in Cambridge, we're looking at 24, and down in Ironton, we're also looking at 26 degrees with partly cloudy conditions. As we take a look at our morning planner, for tomorrow morning, the kiddos will need their winter coats in the morning as we are seeing 27 degrees with cloudy conditions. As we go on to noon, it will be a little bit of a warm up. And as we hit 4 o'clock, we're looking at 44 degrees. But overall, Thursday as a whole, we're looking at 48 degrees, partly cloudy. And like I said, it is that slight warm up that we will be seeing tomorrow with those light winds. And tomorrow across the region, we're seeing mid to upper 40s for most of the viewing area. As those temperatures begin to rise, that will increase the chance for precipitation this coming weekend. So as I said, Friday, we're looking at 45 degrees. Take a look at Saturday. We do have a chance for rain-snow mix towards the middle to the early afternoon hours on Saturday. On Sunday, we are looking at 37 degrees with the same picture story of potential for snow in the morning. And as we look at Monday, we're looking at 40 degrees. Tuesday, we will see 43. And Wednesday, we are going to begin to see 47 degrees, which will be a little bit of a warm up midweek next week. But Spencer, as I said, we're seeing snow potentials for this weekend. I don't know how I'm feeling about it.
Yeah, all this cold weather, it's actually not just affecting us here in Ohio. It's actually reaching down to the southern states, specifically Florida, where it is infecting the scaly guys that inhabit that area down there too. So the forecast, bad news for the invasive iguana population in Florida. Parker Branton started early today looking for those green invasive reptiles down there.
We started early today looking for those green invasive reptiles. It's just above 40 degrees right now. Animal experts say that when it drops below 50, that's when the iguanas start feeling sluggish. And when it gets below 45, that's when they can literally freeze up. These cold-blooded creatures seen hanging on for dear life and skydiving without parachutes. And it was a nosedive from this tree right here that landed this guy head first into the brush. You can see he didn't stick the landing. I'll pick him up to show you. He's in this cold stunned state, still alive, but just not able to move. Their scaly bodies sprawled out. Not even their long nails could keep them locked onto a tree. The National Weather Service, they tried to warn them about this. Oh, don't mind us. We're just taking a nap. Some might think these guys are dead when they see them laying like this, but they're not. They're still breathing. They'll eventually thaw out and be on their way. It's okay, buddy. The sun should warm them up, and they'll resume life as being a nuisance in South Florida. But for today, maybe you can find some compassion for these cold critters.
Iguanas are considered an invasive species in Florida. Wild iguanas were first reported in the state in the 1960s, and their numbers have grown rapidly since then, despite the occasional cold snap. And now I'm joined on the desk by Sports Director Thomas Garverick. Thomas, the OU Bobcats, the basketball team, they were in the Convo yesterday.
They were, yeah. They were taking on a very talented Toledo Rockets team out of the MAC West, and Spencer, the Rockets certainly gave the Bobcats all they could handle. So I'll have the highlights of that game right after the break, and then later on in sports, I have the story on the decorated career that was Ohio quarterback Nathan Ward. That and more later on Newswatch.
On expedition.
I'm in Greenland with an expert team of Arctic explorers attempting to kayak up the largest fjord in the world. Simply stunning. I don't think there's anywhere else on Earth where you feel quite so small, quite so vulnerable. Real danger of getting trapped here.
That's closed up already. Oh my God, that is absolutely awe-inspiring. This is what adventures are made of.
A billion miles from the sun.
Every time we think we have Saturn pegged, another piece of evidence tells us no, everything we thought was wrong.
The most mysterious and alluring of the planets. But the discoveries came at a cost.
I was supposed to call end of mission. I couldn't get the words out.
It's still hard.
The planets. Saturn. On Nova.
Houston, where West Africa meets America.
Nigerians love spicy food.
Yeah. Tell me about the suya Hennessy chicken, because those are like some of the best things in life. This dish, I really feel African.
That's what we're shooting for.
Now it's cool to be African. That's the flyest chef jacket I've ever seen. Ever.
This is us. We have arrived. We have arrived.
No passport required.
Well, I'm just a blues singer.
American Masters presents B.B. King, born a sharecropper's son, Riley B. King. He's the king of the blues.
B.B. King's not just great. He's like great.
Just like, unbelievable.
Join us for his legendary sound and powerful story. B.B. King, the life of Riley on American Masters.
Welcome back. I'm Thomas Garverick. Big week for Jeff Bowles in Ohio. It began with Ohio battling the Toledo Rockets last night. The Rockets trying to take on the Bobcats. Just a battle of two great point guards in Jason Preston and Toledo's Marion Jackson. Early first half, Jackson for three, splash. He had a game-high 29 points, and then it's Preston next possession, weaving his way in the lane, flips it in for the easy two. But for the Bobcats, it was too much of Jackson and Luke Napke. Jackson all the way to the hoop, dips it to Napke, and he puts it in. The Rockets hold off the Bobcats' late comeback, 83-74.
Like I told our guys after the game, we're close. But how many games are we going to say that? And we could, a few possessions here or there. You're not 2-4, you're 5-1.
The Ohio women's team is in action this evening. The Bobcats taking on Northern Illinois at the top of the hour. The Bobcats are in a three-way tie in the MAC East with Buffalo and Kent State at 3-2. So the margin of error is already slim. And despite playing in just 5 games in conference play, Ohio feels the weight that each game carries.
We lost 2 games that we shouldn't have lost. We shouldn't even been in that situation with those 2 teams. But I mean, it is MAC play, so you get everyone's best effort, so you never know what to expect from each game.
Ohio quarterback Nathan Rourke leaves Ohio arguably as one of the best to play under center for the Bobcats. And the amount Rourke means to the Ohio program, well, it can't be measured. He is rare.
You don't find them like him all the time. He thinks beyond himself. That's not the way it is all the time.
He wants to be remembered as a great teammate, and that's exactly what he was. I mean, a leader, captain, nothing bad could possibly be said about him.
A football player's legacy is usually defined by what he accomplishes on the football field. But for Ohio quarterback Nathan Rourke, his legacy at Ohio circles back to one word: team.
He is definitely team-oriented to the point where he'll do anything he can to help his teammates become better athletes, better players, better people.
He comes on the field and puts it all out there, works hard, and he gives us everything he has.
I love the guys in the locker room. I take a lot of pride in being a good teammate and being a good leader. And being coachable by the coaches. I've been so fortunate to be able to come here and to just be one of the guys and learn from these coaches and then have a lot of fun and have a lot of success doing it. So I couldn't ask for more from this program.
Rourke was 24-13 as the starter in 3 years. He accounted for 111 touchdowns in his 3 seasons, a program record. But the stat Nathan and Ohio really care about is 3-0 in bowl games.
We've been blessed to have him for 3 years, and certainly appreciate everything that he has done for this program.
5 words to sum up his past 3 years in Athens.
It's been a good ride.
Spencer, of all the guys that I've covered during my time here in Athens, Nathan is just an extraordinary athlete. And you see how much those guys loved him. His coach loved him. They loved coaching him. The players loved him. They loved playing for him. Nathan will be pursuing a career in the NFL. I know people joke about the fact that he is Canadian, so everyone thinks that he's going to play in the CFL, but Nathan has made it very clear to me that he wants to pursue a career in the NFL, so it should be fun to watch.
Well, Thomas, that's amazing news. Hopefully we can see another Ohio University player make it in the league. Now, being in the doghouse might be a good thing in Jackson, Kentucky, at least if the doghouse is the pet food blessing box outside the shop Tiki's Treasures. The box was built to collect pet products that are free to access for anyone. Travis Combs has taken in many strays in the past and came up with the idea to make them in hopes that the numbers can go down. He says he is interested in building more blessing boxes and is taking requests from places that want them.
Kentucky is rated one of the worst in the nation for animal abuse, starvation, abandonment, that sort of thing. So a bunch of our friends kind of got together. We saw a need and a way that we could help out. We built this box here.
And that does it for our newscast this evening. Thanks for watching. And now I apologize. Sorry, now let's take one last final look at weather.
Thanks, Spencer. Now, tonight in Athens, we're looking at 25 degrees, partly cloudy conditions, but it overall will be a cold night. So if you do plan on going out, make sure that you do have that heavy coat. Tomorrow, we're looking at 48 degrees, partly cloudy. It will be a little bit warmer than what we have seen for the past couple of days. And as we take a look at tomorrow across the viewing area, we are seeing those upper to mid 40s.
Thank you, Michaela. And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Spencer Charlton.
Urban Southern whites with Puerto Ricans and blacks. Housing issues, police brutality. That's what we could all agree on, was for those neighborhoods to come together.